Hi everyone, Father Lamb here, and it's Wednesday, May 29th. And it's been occurring to me, we've had in the last few weeks a lot of funerals, like a lot of funerals. And although that's a time to be able to bring comfort to people, it also is a time of obviously some sadness. And personally, as I get to know people more and more as I'm here, I feel those losses more than when I first came here. You know, when you don't know somebody, you go to a funeral, somebody you don't know, maybe you go to support somebody else, you didn't really know the person, you feel sad about it, you feel empathy, but when you know the person and you had a relationship with them and then you lose them, it's a deeper loss, you know. And I also think what's playing into this for me personally is the fact that last Monday was the first anniversary of my sister Sarah's death. And so I know Monday I was just feeling underneath everything a little bit of sadness and just trying to honor that. But with all that going on, you know, I think it's important for us to enter into this sadness we sometimes feel rather than run from it or try to anesthetize it in some way, because that's what we do in our culture, right? You know, like the feeling that's in there, let's go get busy doing this, that, or the other thing, let's have a few drinks and let's do this, take drugs, go shopping, do something to change that feeling. Chocolate ice cream or vanilla ice cream works for me, Hershey's chocolate, Reese's peanut butter cups, they all make me feel better, right? But they don't really last and they backfire. But anyway, here's what I learned that helped me so much. In Jesus' greatest sermon, the Sermon on the Mount, he said, "Blessed are they who mourn, for they will be comforted." Now I'd hear that and I go, what's so blessed about mourning? Mourning's terrible. I hate it, letting go of somebody. But I didn't understand it. And what I didn't understand was that there's a difference between grief and mourning. They're two different things. And it has to deal with the internal and external nature of the process, if you will. Let me put it this way. The internal part is the grief that we feel when someone dies. And that grief may be sadness, it might be anger, it might be longing to be with the person. It's all in there, okay? The outward expression of that is what mourning is. We're trying to get the grief outside ourselves, you know? And we might do a variety of things to do that. You might cry, you might go to a grave and bring flowers, you might remember certain anniversaries. Some people pray, some people do journaling, some people do artwork or listen to music, recall stories about the person, talk about the person. All that is mourning. So grief is like the container, if you will, and mourning is trying to get those feelings of grief outside the container, you see. And, you know, it's not an easy process, and I think a lot of times in our culture, we don't do it. We just keep moving out of it, you know? So you have grief and then you have mourning, and mourning could be defined as grief gone public, or the outward expression of grief. That's why it's, you know, it's not always a good thing when people just stuff all those feelings. And maybe in the beginning we have to, just to protect ourselves, but in time to truly mourn and get the grief out, you know, we have to express it outwardly somehow. Then I began to understand what Jesus meant when he said, "Blessed are they who mourn, they will be comforted." It's in the mourning that we find comfort. We have to go through the process of loss, you know? And to make this real, I was thinking, is there a grief that you're dealing with right now? Is there a grief in my life that I'm dealing with right now? Can you just name it? What I learned last Monday with the anniversary of my sister's death, I knew a year ago that a sibling death is different than a parental death, you know? It's a different pain and it's very unpleasant. But to go through those feelings, I had to just let myself feel them, first of all, because I would, a lot of times in the past, just go into denial and keep busy. Just keep moving, let's go. And all that stuff's still in there. You know, it works for a while, but then it's very exhausting and it comes out in other ways. So I felt last Monday I just needed to sit with those feelings, and I talked to a few friends about it. I didn't make a big deal about it. I now pray to Sally, my sister. You know, I prayed for her in the beginning when she died, and now I pray to her. I still have a relationship with her. I believe I will see her again one day, just like with all of our loved ones. It's not the same as having her sitting here. That would be more comforting, but I still do have a relationship with her. So let's make this real. Are you grieving something right now? Something in your life? And it might be a person, someone you love who has died. We can grieve a lot of other things too. We can grieve our health. We have a lot of health issues, or somebody you love has health issues, and then you'll go through some grieving there. Sometimes we got to grieve our youth as we get older. You know, we're getting older, things are changing, you know, and it's hard to do that. We can't do the things we used to do when we were younger, and that's a whole mourning process in itself. A job, or even retiring, as great as it is to retire, there might be a sense of grieving there too. Of now I wake up in the morning, what do I do? You know, that kind of thing. Whatever it is for you, just stop for a moment in prayer and just get in touch with that which you're grieving, okay? If you can name it, all the better. This is what I'm grieving, okay? Now, how am I going to work through the process of mourning? What outward expressions can I do that are going to help? Some people go to graveyards a lot. They might bring flowers to a loved one every day. They find comfort in that. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that. Other people never like to go to graveyards. They're not for graveyards or whatever. That's okay too. The deeper question is, what am I doing to mourn the losses that I'm going through? You know, sometimes all we got to do is just sit still for a while in quiet, and it'll be revealed to us. Or you just feel the sadness come over you, or a nostalgia or something. Sometimes a song can set something off that way. Just sit with it. Like, don't run from the feeling. Fight off the temptation to run. I think that, for at least me, that's the way I handle it. Just keep busy, you know, and just acknowledge it, you know. And then, like, for myself, I knew, like, once I acknowledged Sally's, you know, anniversary and felt that, then the next thing was, I want to do something, not a lot. And I went and visited some people in a nursing home from our parish, and I found that very comforting, you know, just to, like, sit with them. I missed my sister. I had a, you know, sense of sadness there. But then to be able to help somebody else, who just have a conversation with them, to sort of get out of ourselves a little bit, to think about somebody else who may also be grieving, and that is very helpful too. So maybe this week we can just allow ourselves to feel the grief. What's in your container? What are you feeling? And secondly, maybe make a list of the things that help you to mourn. You know, do you like to journal? Do you like to talk about the person, tell stories about the person? Do you like to go to graveyards? Do you like to pray for them or to them? Do you like music that makes you, you know, remember some stories about them? Do you do artwork? Like, it doesn't matter what you do. It's getting something outside yourself and then starting to do that. Once we move from that grief, outward expression, into mourning, then we'll finally understand what Jesus said. Blessed are they who mourn, for they will be comforted.